Hi everybody,
Hello.
Welcome. Another episode of Professors Providing Professional Development in Pajamas, but not in pajamas, because it's Tuesday and we just had our faculty meeting, and so we're here. We're just going to do some brief book talks today, and we're going to try to alternate doing the book talks with things that are a bit more substantive, if you will. But Karen's going to pick up a new puppy today.
So this one's going to be a little shorter. We're only going to talk about 4 books today, and we're going to go ahead and get started.
Okay, so let's start with Hedgehugs by Steve Wilson and Lucy Tapper. You see here 2 prickly hedgehogs who really like one another. They're friends and they want to hug. But the problem is, in order to hug, it's kind of prickly. It kind of hurts. And so they try lots of different solutions. In the winter, they wrap themselves in snow, but it's too cold. In the fall, they wrap themselves in leaves, but that's too kind of sticky kind of thing. So they're trying all these ways to find out to discover a way in which they can hug one another. And the solution they come up with is absolutely charming, and it explains why sometimes when you pull your laundry out, you only have one sock. So just kind of keep that in mind. That's Hedgehugs.
We're in the Wrong Book by Richard Byrne. Now this is the first book was This Book Just Ate My Dog. That was the first book that that had this character in it, and I thought it was very interesting how the layout of that book was very interesting and unique. This one is even cooler. All right, so we're in the Wrong Book. Quickly, I'm just going to start out by showing you that basically we just have 2 kids hopping down the street. And then all of a sudden, her dog bumps into her and knocks them both out of the story and into a totally different book. And so quickly you'll see that now we're in a concept book. So now we've gone from the picture story book to a concept book, which is counting and matching and colors. After that, they get thrown into another story, and it's a graphic novel. And then they get sent to nonfiction.
That's the librarian's fault, by the way. She says, I know just the book you're looking for, and sends them to nonfiction. Shame on her.
And then they go into a puzzle book. And it goes on and on and on, several different types of stories, until finally they find their way back to the story that they started in. What an informative book to share with students about different types of books that are out there and available. So I thought this was not only cute, cute, last week's video, enjoyable to read, but also super informative.
And it's another example of metafiction.
There you go.
The first book, which is Help, the book Just Ate My Dog,
That's right.
is also meta and teaches kids about things like, the edges of the pages and the gutter and things like that. This book talks about different formatting that you're going to find in different types of books. So it's actually a book about a book about a book. And we love books that are meta because they really do ask kids to think at a slightly higher level, and yet given the scaffolding of the book, they can so grab what's going on.
It is our characters inside that are actually interacting with the book that they're in, to where they had at the end there's a hole, and they actually says they patch up the hole in their book. And so they are just doing interactions within their story. It's fascinating.
This is Maggie and Wendell Imagine Everything by Cori Doerrfeld. And it is actually got several different chapters in the book. And the chapters are like one word, like help. And without any further words, or really just very few words, you get to see a problem and how it gets solved. So there's a chapter called Help. There's a chapter called Scary. There's a chapter called
they're doing store, so it's like customer service.
Then there's
Escape. It's a brother and sister little elephant that are adorable, and their imagination is fascinating. They really know how to play,
and that's eventually, how you use your imagination is really essential in a book like this, in Hedgehugs, and We're in the Wrong Book. They all kind of flow together. Now, the last book that we've chosen to share with you is
Flora and the Peacocks.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're not going to go through, well,
Yeah,
you
we
know
can't, we can't show it all.
We're not going to show it
you.
all, but as you probably know, this is like a lift the flap book, okay? And so, as with the other books, oh, see, she matches the movements of the animals that she shares the book with. Same with the peacocks. However, there are two peacocks here, and they kind of get jealous of each other because one is dancing with Flora and the other isn't. So their little facial expressions are adorable when they're upset with each other. But boy, oh boy, things really get out of hand. But then in the end, there is a beautiful, Teri, you want to help me?
I will.
Resolution. Look at that. Now, this is a gorgeous, gorgeous work of art. Molly Idle is just getting more incredible with each one of these books. I mean, they're gorgeous. Now, Teri,
Yeah.
a librarian. What do you think would happen with this book in a library?
I actually know the answer to that question because I collect pop-up books. And pop-up books are another kind of book that we really don't put on general circulation shelves because all we need to do is have a kid be a little bit too heavy-handed and suddenly this wonderful thing is
no more.
broken and no more, or one of the flaps gets lost.
The fan's going to be gone. The first book, the person that gets this is going to say, ooh, a poster, and rip it out. So the sad thing about these beautiful types of books is they a lot of times don't go in the general collection for everybody to check out over and over and over again. They end up in like the professional collection, so the teacher only can check it out and share it.
But this is a book that I want the art teacher to have.
Definitely.
Because I want them to note all these little things, like if you look around this oval where you see Flora and the peacocks, these are peacock feathers, the little eyes that line this. When you look at the characters' eyes, Flora and the penguins are mirrors of one another. When she's upset, they're upset. When her head is up, their head is up. When her head is down, their heads are down. These are little things, again, done without one single word. And then we look at the color palette, the greens, the blues, the yellows, and you're going to see that repeated but in different ways. You're going to see framing on some of the pages that's done by some more they look like weeping willow branches is what they look like. So this is going to be a book that kids will want to pore over. So you might share it with kids and invite them to give their language, their story of it. But it's also going to be a book that they're going to want to sit and manipulate. And once you teach kids how to be careful with the manipulation, that's fine. They can sit at their tables and have a good time. But yeah, this one doesn't go out, unfortunately.
Most probably won't. This is also, I think, this is the first one of this type, this Flora series that has so much emotion in the illustrations as well, because these two peacocks really have that jealousy and they get angry with each other. There's a lot of emotion on these pages.
A lot going on here.
Yeah.
And it would be wonderful to have Flora and the flamingo, Flora and the penguin, Flora and the peacocks, to have those all together in a display and talk to kids about color palette, talk to kids about why a flamingo, how does Flora look different when she's interacting with the penguin and the peacocks, to ask them to use those visual literacy skills, close reading, but this is actually close viewing here because there aren't words. You have to kind of put your story in there themselves. This is just a wonderful book on so many levels because of what it's able to do with no words, just illustration. So Flora and the Peacocks by Molly Idle, absolutely one of our favorite books this week. You do know that next week when we talk about books, we'll have new favorites.
Yes.
Because not because we're fickle, but because there are so many wonderful books that come out each and every week for kids.
Right.
So we hope next week to have something on nonfiction ready for you, because we haven't really talked about nonfiction very much. And in the meantime, if you think of something that you'd like for us to consider, you know how to be in touch with us. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for understanding it's short this week, because I'm going to go get my puppy.
Penny Perry.
Penny Perry.
Maybe we'll include her in a shot one of these days.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.